Leanne. Leanne McGurk is... you're going to need to give me 2 minutes to reassess myself. My apologies, people. Leanne McGurk, Director of Place, Community and Economic Development at the Shire of Murray. With her team, she's dedicating to creating great places and destinations in partnership with local government, Main Street businesses, the tourism sector that is transforming the towns within the Shire of Murray. With her background in education and urban planning, she has worked for the local government sector, is a leadership council member for Project for Public Spaces, advocate for Placemaking X, and is a member of both the Planning Institute of Australia and Economic Development Australia. Could you please put your hands together for Leanne McGurk?
Okay, play with this? Okay. Hi everyone, thanks very much for the opportunity to present today. Oh, sorry. Hi everyone, thanks for the opportunity to share our story with you today. Hang on, where's the arrow? Here we go. Oh, sorry, the other way. How do I go back? Okay, so the Shire of Murray is a bunch of former bureaucrats that are now very pumped about place, people and our potential. It wasn't always that way, and back in 2016 we realised that our major town, Pinjarra, was hitting some problems and some major problems. We had systemic issues in relation to the economy as well as even the connection with our community. So Pinjarra is a pretty cool place. It's a beautiful place with a long, long history. So it's the home of the Binjarra Noongar people. For those of you who don't know where Pinjarra is, it's just east of Mandurah, where we're located in the Shire of Murray. We've got a population of about 5,500 people. We're one of the first WA European settlements, so similar to the York kind of scenario, we've got lots of amazing old heritage buildings. And we're an evolving agricultural town. We've got a lot of people that left town once agriculture started to drop away. So it's sort of, we had a few issues and it was just getting worse and worse. And in 2016, like I said, we realised we had a whole bunch of issues we needed to tackle. So we had a main street that wasn't functioning, no one went there. We had businesses who were too terrified to put anything out on the pavement because we had over-regulated everything. We still have high unemployment, but we're working on that. Low educational attainment levels. It was really shocking, you know, when you get your stats through and you realise that the vast majority of the community have only got up to year 9. Very few had gone on to ATAR. That's the kind of systemic kind of things we had to deal with. We also have an ageing population, like most regional towns, where people tend to head to the big smoke when they want to further their education or potentially find jobs. The lack of infrastructure, as most regional towns, we've got no local public transport. I think there's one bus run to Mandurah a day, or possibly 2 if we're lucky. And I think the biggest shock for us was that there was actually no community association there. It was a disconnected community who had given up on themselves as well. So where do you start? So we realised that we needed some fundamental changes, and it wasn't just our community, it was us as a local government. We were very bureaucratic, we were very traditional, we were siloed, and we knew that it wasn't working, and we kind of just were planning for the community instead of letting them in and actually helping them to think big and to believe in a future. So we had to start with the Pinjarra Revitalisation Strategy. One of the reasons we had to do that is the state government had identified Pinjarra and the Shire of Murray for significant growth. We had a population of about 18,000 total, and we were being told by 2050 we would have a population of 164,000. That is incredible growth because they're saying once SJ, Serpentine Jarrahdale and Baldivis would reach capacity, they would have to push a lot of that growth into the Shire of Murray. So for a town that was already quite crippled and a shire, because we've got a lot of small towns like this, it could be fundamental failure of our social and our economic future. So we had a lot of work to do. So what we did is we went out to our community. That was tough because at that point they didn't trust us. They didn't have any faith that we knew what we were doing because we didn't. And we actually admitted all that up front. We don't know where we're going with this. We know we want to work with you guys. We know we want to partner. They didn't feel brave enough to tackle their future. Once you find, because I think a lot of people live in a town but they don't actually realise the big picture. And when you really give them hard facts about the stats, I think the penny dropped for them too. And they knew that they wanted their kids to live in a town that was great. Again, I'm sounding like Donald Trump now. It was building bridges to start with, and a lot of truth-telling about the situation and about the failures of us as a local government in the past, and also for them about a future, what it would look like. So as a collective, we basically agreed that we needed a collaborative vision, we needed authentic partnerships. So this is where we started to really shift our thinking as a local government. I'll come to that a little bit later. We needed achievable projects, and we're not just talking about a couple of crates on the street, we're talking about fundamental changes to how we lived in this town. Adaptive reuse of our heritage assets, and that's what I'm here about today. We've got some amazing old buildings in that town, and we just let them waste away. One of them was full of rangers who really didn't like people very much. They barely went out the front, and I'll show you what it looked like. We had issues with no capacity building opportunities, so that became a significant thing, which I'll talk about in the next slide. And we needed to have an aligned strategic framework. So in other words, the planners and all the bureaucrats had to make sure that we were actually coming up with a framework that supported what the community wanted and where they wanted to be, instead of what we thought they needed. So we had to do a bit of education as well. So we had to work through all of those different elements, and I'm talking to the converted here, you all know what this means, so I won't go down this path. But there was a whole bunch of stuff. So we didn't just look at one element, it had to be right across the board. I guess the interesting thing is the heritage assets. Now we've got 3 key sites probably in town that were basically, no one was there, it was just destitute. So one of the things the community said to us pretty quickly is we want to take our town back. We want to feel like it's ours again. So as a vision, collectively, we decided it was distinct place, destination and story. That's every town says the same thing, I know, but this is, we had our own and we knew where we wanted to be. Everyone wanted to find it was a great place to live. 4 years ago, it wasn't. No one went out, no one connected, no one came together as a community. We knew we had historic and country character, but the big thing with the heritage spaces, people said, we don't want to use it like we're currently using it. A couple of the older groups were in there hunkering down, doing their crocheting, all in their own little patch. They actually wanted contemporary uses that actually brought the young people out instead of just a group of people of 5 women that got together on a Wednesday morning. And we had a huge creative and innovative community that we actually didn't know we had until we started down this path. So, we probably started in the place-making realm a bit different, possibly, than others. We didn't have the, what did we say? I don't want to sound, the expertise or the educated community that might have been able to lead something. So, your Leaderville Connects, you've got a lot of professional people that can actually, they've got experience and confidence in leading something. We had a lot of older people who had never been involved in anything like this before, and a couple of creative artists, and we had this bunch of old ladies that were amazing, who were so excited about potentially taking their town back. And they're great. So collectively, we decided that we couldn't just kind of go, here you go, ladies or guys, here's $10,000, knock yourself out with some interventions. We decided that we had to become part of Pinjarra Connect. So our officers basically, we were part of the team. So we were in there on the weekends, whatever, we were digging stuff out. We were, I'm not sure what else to add here, Crystal, but we were knee deep in it. And I think very, very quickly the community realised we weren't in there we weren't a local government just taking a paycheck. We were invested in this place. So, a couple of the things we did, like out the front, the guys loved their, farm stuff, so created some great little gardens. Yoga, so Edenvale's this beautiful old building, and again, it was the Historical Society were very, you can only do so much in this place because it's very, very special, but no one used it. So, even to have yoga in this town, everyone's like, what the heck, yoga at Edenvale. We had the neighbourhood harvest, because we also had a community garden that was now starting to feel a bit confident. Can we do this? So, of course, they can, and they did, and now Pinjarra Connect work with them and do some great shared events. And we started something called Music on the Murray. So we've got this great Murray River that runs right through our town, and no one goes down there, or hadn't gone down there. But now we do this seasonal thing where we pull up the old truck from the old Roger May Museum, and John Butler came and played. I mean, it's sort of building something now that the community going, this is amazing, there's so much to do. So I'll get quickly onto the courthouse. So the courthouse is one of our oldest buildings in town. It used to house our rangers, grumpy rangers, that we moved out. And basically Pinjarra Connect went in and started doing these little interventions without permission. And, you know, they'd get a bit nervous, go, oh, can we do that? And we go, just do it. You know, ask for forgiveness later, just go ahead. So occasionally we get a call and say, oh my God, I've just done this, is that okay? We go, yeah, just knock yourself out. So they started taking back the old courthouse in town. And over time, all of these cool things started to happen. They got a bit braver and a bit braver. And a lot of this happened without officers. They would just go in there during the week and, you know, muck around. The guy in the top left-hand corner, I'll just give you a quick story about him. That's Roger May. He's one of the oldest guys we've got in town. And there's a museum in Pinjarra named after him because he started this whole, he collects tractors. Anyway, old Roger May never smiles. And he's known for that. He's a pretty serious old guy. And anyway, he heard about this group and, you know, telling everyone off, you can't do this out front of the courthouse and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, one day we convinced him to bring his tractor out of the museum, one of them, and he came trundling down the road and he was going to park it out the front in the car bay because he wanted to show he was a bit defiant. And we walked up to him and said, Roger, drive up on the verge. And he's going, oh, no, I'm not doing that because the police station's right next door. I'm not doing that. And I'm going, Roger, just turn the engine on. Go on, get up. And he's going, no. Anyway, sure enough, with a bit of coaxing, he gets his tractor and drives right around the courthouse, does a great big U-turn, and there he parked it and left it and walked away. But the smile on that guy's face, everybody in town that was there was going, oh my God, Roger's smiling. So I think for everyone else, seeing Roger do this was like, oh my gosh, we're really taking our town back. Then we worked with Pinjarra Connect to basically activate the inside of the courthouse. So we've created a co-working, co-creating, co-innovating space. And so there's certain elements to this courthouse where people can work from that space. We have artists in residence once a month. Pinjarra Connect organise that now. They're getting better at organising so we can kind of step back a little bit now. We feel like that capacity building's happened. So we've got the co-working, as I said. In fact, the lady up the top in the middle, she's one of our great Pinjarra Connect drivers, doing incredible stuff. Got a great cafe if you're in Pinjarra. And we're doing that. This is the Makers in Residence. So these guys, Pinjarra Connect, organise that once a month. And we've been open now, I think, 2 years, and I think we've missed 1 month or 2 months, and I think that's generally COVID related. But people are actually knocking on the door saying we want to be part of it. So they're coming in from the region now. So people are coming in from Mandurah or Waruna and nearby towns just to be part of it. And the Shire actually operates the back end. So there's a space where it's basically community space, you know, where we'll hire the space out. But that said, we hire it how much? I think it's down to a nothing token. We want to keep it really, really low so it's so affordable because it's really important for our community because we have to keep it so that they want to use it and they can make it work. So yeah, lots of cool stuff. I won't go through all that. There's lots of events and markets and music events and whatever else. It's great. That picture was the day we opened, and I tell you that we were so proud of ourselves that day. It was just a great one to share. Now, just moving on, I just want to show everyone, I guess, that placemaking, the momentum you create, you cannot underestimate. The town is so impressed with themselves and the people are so confident, they're coming up with all these great ideas. And the Shire now, we're far more confident what we can achieve. So the Exchange Hotel's another amazing old building that hasn't been open since 2008. It's probably one of the most highly valued spaces in the town centre because it was where everyone used to go in the heyday. So back in 2008, the Shire purchased that site because we knew it was so important to the community. And what we've been doing ever since is working out what we're going to do with that space. So what we are going to do with that space now that we've got far more engagement and the community really know what they want to see, and this is where I'll diversify a little bit. Just town teams don't always have to be called town teams either. The Exchange Hotel is a project where we've, for the first time, engaged with our producers in the region that up until now have been working completely separate. They want to come into this space, and we believe that we can probably get up to 20 producers coming together and using this space so that for the first time we actually have a true market environment. We've got a Coles in town, that's it. So for the people to come now and be able to get fresh food, also have a great pub, and also, and this is the Produce and Makers Co-op. So this is bringing those 20 producers together so that we have space for them to come and basically have a main street presence that they haven't had for a very, very long time. Okay. And the community and event space, this is critical. We don't even have an event space in town. So, you know, if you want to get married, if you want to, I don't know, have some major event, there's nowhere cool to go other than, I don't know, the footy club or something like that, and that could do with a bit of work too. So again, this is to create a space in the centre of town, back in the heart, which used to be the heart of town. It will be, won't it, Jason? And so that's the conceptually. I won't go into any detail, but we're really pumped about this. We think it's going to transform and be a catalyst for future investment. We've already been told by other investors that until the Exchange Hotel is up and running, they're not brave enough to invest. So for us, a lot's hanging on this. And the important part for our community, which is, remember right back to that first slide about lack of jobs, lack of opportunity, we've got the construction cost is $5 million. We've got an application in for that right now. The economic output is $11.54 million. And that's significant to a really, really small local government and a small town. Importantly, it's the jobs. The jobs are 20 full-time during construction and 48 once operational. Additional 37,000 visitors to Pinjarra just with this project alone. And the one we're really excited about as well is that local producers. So finally, 20 local producers in our region are going to have a place to come together and connect and network and learn and share and all that, which is really cool. And I'm nearly finished. So while we're gaining this momentum, I know we dream big. We thought, well, we can do that. Why can't we do something else? The railway precinct Pinjarra's got an old railway station. It's got a lot of dead land. We've got a great community garden, and we've also got a men's shed in there, but there's so much more potential. So that's our next project. And then we're also working on Edenvale, just in our spare time. It's huge, but it's exciting, and the momentum has been the difference. You know, and doing those little smaller interventions that built that courage and bravery. And I think more importantly, it was the trust that we built between the local government, finally, and our community. So the takeaways, I guess, are dream big, because you'll be surprised what's achievable. I think sometimes, particularly people in WA, we tend to do everything small, don't go too bold. Go bold, go brave, knock yourselves out. What do you got to lose? You can unlock potential through underutilised heritage spaces. Well, you've all got them. I mean, just something built in the 1960s can still have heritage value to people. So don't just have to look for old red buildings with nice, you know, architecture. You've all got these great little spaces, a bit like yours actually. I mean, they were 60s, yeah. Town teams come in different shapes and sizes. I bring back to the growers. They're also town teaming. They're creating a great place, and they will do. You know, we've got Pinjarra Connect, but we've got others too. Our community garden, that's almost like a town team. They're creating a great place in their part of town. And the last one is great LGs are invested in your place. Believe it or not, we don't just take a paycheck. We spend half our life in that town too. So we are invested. We're not just local government people who just don't give a rat's. Well, some are, but we aren't. And hopefully you live in one of those. And until local government can actually work with their community, I don't think you can actually realise the full potential of your place. So hunt them down, make them accountable, and come and tell them to talk to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne.